Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to Punk Rock Radar. And today, you guys are going to want to crack open an IPA, pour yourself a little fair trade organic coffee, because today we are talking about the Menzingers, the
Mm,
Manzangers, the Manginas. No, wait,
mm.
we're talking about the Menzingers. All right, today, Kyle, we're talking about the Menzingers and how did you come to learn of the Menzingers? And they're kind of like an anomaly, and I think kind of like the punk music scene where I feel like they kind of like aren't a punk band in a lot of ways, and they kind of go tap into like a lot of different genres, and a lot of different fan bases can kind of grow to appreciate them. Like I know a lot of like people who really like that kind of 2010s pop punk also really like the Menzingers, but then like a lot of people who love like skate punk and rancid and street punk also just kind of find themselves loving the Menzingers as well. So how'd you hear of them, and how'd you get interested in their music, man?
Yeah, so it took me a while to come around to the Menzingers. So I saw them tour with the Flatliners in 2012.
Okay,
And
yeah, I saw him as well. Same tour, I'm pretty sure.
okay, yeah, and Polar Bear Club I think played too. Um, but yeah, I was not into that music at the time. I was not
Hmm.
enjoying it. I was like, "What is this? I just want the Flatliners to play. Like, let's get the show on the road." And like looking back now, I'm like, I kind of regret like not enjoying that show because they were touring with the on the Impossible Past at the time. So
Oh,
I'm
such a
sure that
great
set
movie.
list was killer.
Oh yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I've come around to them over the years. I honestly like probably in the last 5 years is when I really started to like them a lot. Um, but going into this, like, there's probably three albums I listened to a lot, and then the rest I like kind of just heard a couple times and just
Sure,
never
sure.
really bothered to go back to them. Um, but doing this, like I feel like I've learned like so much about them. There's just such a wide range of styles they kind of do, and it's kind of interesting. They come from like humble beginnings,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah,
but
we'll get into that debut definitely.
well
So
by humble beginnings I mean they were all in ska bands.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, I know.
they
I
were
know.
the saddest band in the world here, and they
They
were
all
all in
came
ska
from like
bands.
these ska punk bands. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The
And you'll hear it when we talk about the debut, but I'm a huge fan of the Menzingers. They're like one of my favorite bands. When like the whole org chorus scene was kicking off, and everyone was talking about like Against Me and Off with Their Heads and the Flatliners and Banner Pilot and Dear Landlord and all this stuff. Menzingers are like right there as well. They were not like my favorite at first. I definitely appreciated them and liked them, but they have grown, especially as I've grown as well. And some of these lyrics, man, are just like the most relatable shit in the fucking world. It's so
mhm.
crazy specific, and so just pointed at something that like occasionally one of the lines hits you where it's like, damn, this dude's just like describing something I've been through, like word for word. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, like or you like even if you haven't experienced, it's like you can kind of put yourself in their shoes, right? Like they
Definitely.
do it in such
Yeah.
a good way. So
Yeah, there's like a lot of like lyrics, very descriptive, a lot of just very like poignant, just kind of like sad songs, but also like these hopeful melodies. And so we'll get into talking about them here. So we're gonna start off with the debut, which is I'm gonna say this name wrong. So this is a lesson in the abuse of information technology.
I supply my own to find morality.
Seven debut on Go Kart Records, and go ahead and start us off, Kyle. What'd you think of this one, man?
all right, so yeah, like I said, I never really listened to this one too much. Like I think I heard it probably
Same.
around when it came out, and then just never
I
thought about it at all. Um, but I just feel like this is not what you think of when you think of the Menzingers at all. Like if if you were to hear this after hearing the other ones like I did, you probably wouldn't even think it's the same band, right? Aside from hearing maybe the vocals. And
Yeah.
but yeah, so the opening track, like he's like rapping in it at one
That's
part.
what I was about. I was about to say. It's
Like,
like I do not. I've listened to this before. This is probably my least listened to Menzingers record, just because it's so different from what I traditionally like. But I was like, I do not remember there being a borderline ska-core rap song as the intro track. Like it's
yeah,
kind of crazy.
yeah. So there's like stuff like that, and then I love the song "Coal City Blues" on here. That might be my favorite track on here.
It's a good
It
track, the
it's like
acoustic
a
one, right?
yeah, and it sounds like neutral Milk Hotel mixed with like Against Me or something.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a great song. And then they cover the Clash on here too, Straight to Hell.
Hmm.
Such a good cover. Um, but yeah, like this album, like not what I thought the Menzingers would ever have sounded like. And there's just like this mix of like Against Me's reinventing Axl Rose, early Anti-Flag, obviously the Clash, like they've said in many interviews I've seen, like
I said
they
like some of it's like hot water music adjacent as well, and then some of it feels like it could be like Souls inspired.
oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's a hodgepodge of like a lot of bands. It feels like, but definitely like not like it's copying anything. It's just
No.
kind of like this kind of chaotic flow of different soundscapes.
Yeah, they make it
So
their own, and like another band too I really like is American Steel, and they're doing a lot of that American Steel style where it's kind of like these kind of ska, slow ska kind of chords, and then they're kind of
mhm.
screaming over it. Um, but yeah, so this is gonna be my first A tier album.
You're putting
Um,
this in the A tier.
yeah, like honestly, like
I do it.
I kind of rank these also like how much I would probably go back and listen to them,
Hmm.
and this is one I would return to. And it's nice that it's kind of different. It's a game changer, I guess you could say. Or yeah,
I knew there was going to be one head scratcher from you there. That's the one. That's the one that was going to throw. I was thinking. I was like, I feel like I'm going to Coyle's going to put a lesson in the abuse of information technology, like an S tier possibly. So, but I will say, like to me, you said like you wouldn't expect it to be the Bin Sinkers. That's what I thought too when I originally listened to it.
hmm
I think after listening to like being a really big fan of them and listening to them a lot, going back to this, which is like my least revisited record by them, I hear there's definitely like the sound that's being established. Like there's an established Menzingers sound, especially on the cover that you mentioned, Straight to Hell. I feel like that, even though it is a cover of the Clash, that sounds like a Menzingers track that could be on Chamberlain Waits. Like some of them are definitely off in crate. Like you said, Alpha Kappa off a balcony is a ska core rap song, is like the intro
yeah,
track. And then you have like Keychain, which straight up I feel like sounds like a soul song. So and there's some like I really said that chaotic melodic feel of like hot water music with some of the riffs and the bass and everything like that. So it's quite a chaotic record. I always thought I didn't like it all that much, but honestly, I think it's a really great debut, and I think it's a lot of fun to have. But uh, like as soon as we get to the next record, dude, every time I go back to this and all of like kind of the charm and appreciation I have for a lesson in the abuse of information technology, as soon as we move on to the sophomore debut, that all just gets pretty much overshadowed. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is why I like the Menzingers. Not really their debut. This is why I like the Menzingers. But it's a great record. I can respect people liking it. I know some people who this is one of their favorites by them, but it's going to my D tier.
oh wow,
So
okay, yeah,
and so it's going to my D tier. I think it's a great record. It's just not what I go to when I think of the Menzingers. Like as kind of its own thing, I can appreciate it, but that's just is what it is. So,
yeah, I can see that.
uh,
You know, something else I just want to point out too is like sometimes when you like do these tier lists of some of these bands and they have so many records, you know, at least one's gonna have poor production,
yeah.
and like every one of these Menzingers albums has like amazing production. Like they all
Oh yeah, even
sound
this
really
first one,
good.
it
Yeah,
sounds really good. It's a great sounding record. Like there's it's not like one of these things where I'm like it's really raw and charming. I'm like no, it was competently put together. Like
yeah,
there's nothing
no
wrong with it.
excuses needed here. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, let's
Uh,
go ahead and move on to the sophomore record, which is going to be Chamberlain Waits. And I'll go ahead and start us off here. And I think I already mentioned before, like this is like the evolution into the foundations of like the Menzingers. Like this is when you think of the Menzingers, you don't think of information technology. The first thing you're going to think of is on the timeline is Chamberlain Waits. It starts to bring in that kind of like rock and roll Midwest Americana mixed with like that working class punk sound with these like really emotionally charged poppy hooks and everything like that. And like I said, as soon as this comes on, like if I'm listening to them in order, it overshadows Lessons to me almost immediately. I absolutely love this record. I think it's phenomenal. I Was Born is like an incredible track. I think it's like the second song. Like the lyrics, I was born inside a Bible. I was living off life support. And then the song Timetables has one of my favorite lines by them as well, which is, "We argued over what Bad Religion album was better. I thought No Control or Suffer." And it's just like these lines, like, and you can see it right here, like how they definitely like were able to like pull in all the punk fans. And I feel like this is like a lot of time, like almost kind of like Americana Springsteen music for punk rock fans. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, I can see that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Like I think this. Go ahead.
but yeah,
Sorry.
like it's still like it. They've paid their punk rock dues, with these albums for sure. Like for people to say
Yeah.
they're not a punk band, like they definitely are. Like,
Yeah. Some people say that, and like I understand it. Like I'm not gonna like some of it. I'm not gonna argue too much, but I think there's like this is kind of like for punk fans. This is for punks. Even if it's not punk, it's for punks and by punks. You know what I mean?
yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah, and it has so many great songs. Tasker Morris Station is one of my favorites on here as well. I think it's an excellent sophomore record. I think it's we're really establishing the sound of it. It still has that really raw kind of Menzingers vocals, which we lose later on as we go. Like I really love when he's able to do that raspy scream and then immediately go into like a really like mellow singing voice. Like it's incredible to do that. Like that's not like an easy thing to do. Like he's an incredibly talented singer.
Hmm.
But Chamberlain Waits is going to go in my B tier. Like I think it's a really solid Menzingers record, but it's not hitting to masterpiece level, which I believe the Menzingers have two 10 out of 10 masterpiece records. That's not one of them, but it's a great record. And what are you doing with Chamberlain Waits here, Kyle?
So this was probably the hardest one for me. I like debated
Mm-hmm.
this so much, and I hear
Me
what
too.
you're
It was almost
saying.
higher.
Yeah, like with Lesson in the Abuse of Information Technology. By the way, that album name, I don't know what
I
they were
hate
doing
it.
with
I
that,
hate
but
it. I such a. I can never remember what it's called. Sorry, go ahead.
horrible, horrible name. Yeah, but but yeah, this album, like, I love all the songs, and I totally agree. It's like you can hear that Menzingers sound really like coming to light here.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm gonna put this in my B tier as well.
Okay,
Um,
we
I
matched
don't
up.
think anything's bad on this record, but
Hmm.
it's just one of the records where I don't want to go back to as much. Like I'm not like I don't get the songs stuck in my head. They're not as like catchy in that sense. Like maybe I just haven't heard it as much as you
Sure.
have, but um, there's a lot of great songs. The Who's Your Partner is a great opener. I feel like all their
Hmm.
albums have great opening songs. They really
They
do a
really
good
do.
job with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, then also I think my favorite song overall was No We Didn't. There's just this cool like bass and drum only part at the beginning, and like I
Oh
just
yeah.
yeah, like I just love when they
That's
have
like a hot
like
water music sound. That's what I was talking about. Sometimes it feels like
yeah,
that could be the intro to a hot water music song, straight up. Yeah.
yeah, it reminds me a lot of like Frank Black or like the Pixies, right? Like that kind of stuff too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like
definitely.
just leaving kind of like just leaving the bass and the drums alone and just having kind of like a chord kind of hanging around or just using like some sort of fuzz or
They're
distortion.
very minimalist with the guitar work, and I say like a lot of times you listen to some of these guitar riffs on the Menzingers, and like it's no more complicated than like like Rancid guitar riffs. You know what I mean? Like so
For sure,
that's why
for
I think
sure.
yeah. So it's really cool what they're able to do with just minimal amount of stuff and just how they put the compositions together. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and
Um,
just one cool little thing I didn't know about, but on the track "So It Goes," Brendan Kelly is guest vocals on there.
is he actually?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't even know
yeah.
that.
He's out throughout it. Yeah, I didn't realize that at first, but you can definitely hear him in there. Yeah.
I have to go back and listen to it. I never thought about it. I thought it
Yeah.
was just maybe someone else in the band singing backup vocals.
No, no. I,
That's
I
pretty
mean,
cool.
both of them do sing pretty often, right? Both Tom and Greg, I think is his name.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, yeah, you can hear the distinct Brendan Kelly voice in there for sure.
that's pretty
Um,
interesting.
but yeah, not much
All
else to
right.
say about that one. But yeah, B
All
tier for
right, B
sure.
tier. I mean, we're both B tier, so I mean, I think it's totally fair. We're matching up. We matched up here. Other than your wild take on the debut, I'm kidding. But let's go ahead and talk about On the Impossible Past, which I think like this is like the first instance of probably like mainstream breakout success for the Menzingers, or the point where like a lot of people were talking about the Menzingers once this record dropped. So
For
go
sure.
ahead and start us off with On the Impossible Past, Kyle.
Yeah, so this is probably the first one I really listened to, um,
Yeah, same.
and really enjoyed, like right away, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, the opening track, like Good Things, the way it fades into Burn After Writing, it's like they do this like cinematic like guitar part, like the it's
Oh,
it's
it's so
just
good.
it's
That guitar riff on Burn After Writing is so good.
it's amazing, man. Like
It gives me chills, dude, every time I listen to it. And then the chorus coming in, I cut my I forget, he says like I cut my hair or you cut my hair. That's like
I
that's
don't
what he
think I
says.
picked up on
It's
that. Yeah.
like I'm serious. That's like the when I was looking it up, I was like, does he actually say you just cut my hair? All right.
Right. But even the opening line, like I'm having a horrible time, right?
Oh,
Like
that's that's
it's
that's
just
what I said,
perfect.
dude.
Yeah, it's
That's what I
so
said, dude.
good.
I said right at the start of On the Impossible Past, as soon as you hear, I've been having a horrible time pulling myself together, you know you're in for a fucking amazing album. Like, as soon as that starts,
Oh
it's like,
yeah.
ooh, this is going to be good. You can just tell. Sorry,
Yeah,
continue.
yeah, yeah, and another song, like something I kept reading about them was like that they're heavily influenced by the Smashing Pumpkins,
I can see that.
and
Okay.
like I could kind of hear it a lot, like or not a lot, but like every once in a while. But
Yeah.
where I did hear it a lot was the song I Can't Seem to Tell. So
Oh, yeah.
that
Okay.
that could easily be a song on Siamese Dream. Like that
Oh,
riff
yeah.
sounds so much like Today from the Smashing Pumpkins, like in a good way. I'm not saying they ripped it off or
Hmm.
anything. I love that. That might be my favorite song on this entire album. Um, but there is a couple songs I'm not crazy about. I've never really liked Mexican guitars, and then it
I
goes.
was I was gonna say that's the same one that I have. I think there's like a slight dip in quality around like Sculptors and Vandals, Mexican Guitar, and On the Impossible Pass, and it doesn't really pick up again until I think Nice Things in Casey.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have Casey there on the B side because Casey's such a good fucking song.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Um,
me and Casey, we used to do the dishes, but
Dude,
we
I
were
real
used to.
quick, I just want to say, I feel like I don't know who's writing all the lyrics, Greg or what, but I feel like this guy falls in love with every waitress who's ever waited him at a restaurant, dude. So if you're a waitress and you're waiting on the guys from the Menzingers, be prepared to have a very melancholic, poignant song wrote about you. All right.
It's going to be probably a passionate relationship, but it's probably
Yeah,
going to end badly.
it's gonna end very badly, and there's gonna be an entire album dedicated to you.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? Like, I don't like the on the Impossible Pass the song. Like, it's just it's too much. It's so sad, and I know it's probably supposed to be kind of an interlude or something,
Yeah,
but the way it transitions into nice things, just the contrast there, is
it's good.
perfect. So I mean,
Hmm.
it does what it needs to. Um, so yeah, oh, you know what? The other thing I was gonna say is like this album also kind of reminds me of Brand New and like Taking Back Sunday. You kind of hear this more like
Sure.
pop
Yeah.
punk kind of thing going on.
Yeah, that's how I was gonna say. This is kind of like where we there's a lot. This is where like the kind of like the pop punk fans really kind of came over to the Menzingers. Like a lot of these choruses and stuff like that could really just a lot of them are like very emo pop punk, in a lot of ways. And you can see why people who love those bands would end up being a fan of the Menzingers. So it's just cool cross appeal, where it's like people who like I'm trying to think, like Bouncing Souls and Rancid, and also people who like Taking Back Sunday and Newfound Glory. and
Mhm,
stuff like
mhm.
that, and Brand New, all it kind of coalesce and collide onto the same band. It's very cool. They've got an awesome style.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so,
So yeah,
well,
I'm gonna
where you
give
putting
this.
this guy, man?
Yeah, this is my second A tier.
Second A tier.
Second A tier. Yeah,
Okay, right next to a
lessons
lesson
in
in the
review.
abuse of information technology. All right. This has been the hardest one for me. This has been back and forth. To me, this is like in a lot of ways the definitive Menzingers record. This is like a 10 out of 10 record, I think, overall. I mean, even if there is a few songs that I don't think are the most strong, they're not bad at all, and I don't really skip them. And I think the whole album is a cohesive experience, like definitely. And I mean, this is like the first four tracks are all iconic in my mind, dude.
For
And
sure.
there's like,
Yeah, it's
oh
amazing.
yeah, the first four tracks are absolutely insane. Like it's good, good things burn after writing the obituaries into gates. Like all of these ones, like almost every lyric clings to my mind. On obituaries, just the line I love. It's like maybe I'm not dying, I'm just living in decaying cities. And
Yeah,
then from Gates, one of my favorite lines. Like I said it before, on the epitaph bracket, but it's not hard to fall for a waitress when you both smoke the same cigarettes. Like it's these lines that like seem kind of corny and seem and stuff, but they work so well in the song. You know what I mean?
for
These are like
sure.
great lyrics. Like these are great like working class love songs. It's like you know what I mean? Like you're working at like in a kitchen everyone's worked in a kitchen at some point in their life, I feel like, and you have like these little intermingling. Oh, I hit the mic. Sorry. These little intermingling relationships and stuff like that, and you know,
Yeah,
it's just like such a like a lot of these songs are so sweet, and some of them are so sad too, but some of them are these really sweet love songs. They're really well done. But like one of them's "Here's to You," the same chords I stole from a song I heard before. Like
yeah,
great
that
lyrics.
sticks in your head for sure. Yeah,
That stakes in your head.
yeah.
What is the other one? I think it's the Sun Hotel. This is one of my favorite lines. It's like I'm pretty sure this corner of the world is the loneliest corner in
In
the
the whole
whole
world.
world.
Oh yeah, I love that
Yep.
one. Yeah,
So good, such a good line, and it's just me and the bartender, this Budweiser, and other customers. It's like some of these
yeah, it's
lyrics, like
perfect,
I feel
dude.
like only the men singers could pull them off, though. It's like very hard to like pull off some of these like kind of like almost like kind of meandering talking lyrics and stuff like that. But the men singers kill it. To me, this is a 10 out of 10 record, but I debated it back and forth, and I think there is one that I'm going to give the edge to slightly. So, On the Impossible Pass is going in my A tier, but it was in my S tier, back and forth. So, it's to me, if there could be two S tiers, it would be two S tiers, but it can't. So, my rules, I made these
Yeah,
rules. We're
they
doing
could.
one S.
They would all be S tier if we could, right? Yeah.
They all be S tier if it was up to me. So, but let's go ahead and talk about the follow up to On the Impossible Pass, which is Rented World, which I do know is a lot of people in the Discord's favorite record by the Menzingers. And I'll start us off with this one. And I do just want to say, we're on the Impossible Pass definitely had some kind of melancholy, kind of sad moments and stuff like that. I always felt like a lot of it was like falling in love with the waitress, like we're living in the city together, we're sticking it out, I'm waiting for you. There was like a hopeful energy to it, I think, at the end of the day, from On the Impossible Pass. Rented World, it starts off with I'm
I don't
oh
want
my
to be
gosh,
an
what's it
asshole
called? I
anymore.
don't want to be an asshole anymore, which is like such a hype song, and I think that was also a lot of people's first intro to the Menzingers. But I never really thought about what a downer this record is. Like it's a
Yeah.
sad fucking record, dude. Like I'm contrasting with all the sentimental love songs on the Impossible Pass. Rented Pass is like about, I mean, Rented World is about regret, like heartbreak, like loss. Like there's a song called Nothing Feels Good Anymore, where the
There's no
chorus is
hope.
just
No
there's
hope.
no hope. There is the hope is gone in this one, dude. I feel like there's some parts that are there, but one of my favorite. There's so many good lines though in this, but it's so sad to listen to, which is The song "I Know Where Your Heartache Exists," where it's just like, "I know where your heartache exists. It's when you're alone and when you're around me." I'm like, Jesus, dude, that's hard. It's like it
Man, like
sucks when you're alone. It sucks when I'm with you. I'm like, that's so harsh. Like
like
that's a failing relationship. Like that's a
those.
relationship that's doomed to fail, and it's depressing. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I don't know how much Bracket you listen to, but their lyrics are always so depressing, basically about
I can
being a
see that.
depressed person. This album
Yeah.
reminds me a lot like those kind of lyrics, and you just nailed
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Oh my gosh, dude! There's some that aren't like one of the songs I like on here a lot is "My Friend Kyle," of
yeah,
course, you know.
of
But the
course.
lyrics are really good on "My Friend Kyle." It's like when we were young kids, we made a difference. We survived those churches and hospitals. Tall tales grow taller, but never grow old. Like such, they still have like that kind of Chamberlain Waits style kind of working class Midwest memories that we're reminiscing through here. That are the Menzingers love to reminisce. But the ending track on this thing, dude, holy shit! When You Died, that is like the saddest song, one of the saddest songs I've ever heard. Like that's that. Those lyrics just creep up in my head, dude. I said, "Where do people go when they die? How do you keep them alive? How do
Yeah, it
we
doesn't get
prevent
much
something?"
sadder than that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How do we prevent something like this from ever happening again? And we don't lose any of our friends or something like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. And I'm listening to this. I'm like thinking of like grandparents who passed. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I can listen to this record anymore. We got to move on to something else.
It's good they put it at the end. I'll
Oh,
just
it's a
say that.
great
Yeah,
closing track, dude. So
yeah.
like, look, I love Rented World. I do think it is a drop off though from On the Impossible Past. I don't think it's as good. I know a lot of people love it. I don't think it's as strong as a record. I do feel like some songs are just like Nothing Feels Good Anymore is probably one of my least favorite Menzinger
Oh
tracks where he's
wow.
just repeating Nothing Feels Good. It's not bad. Like they have a lot, not my least favorite, like least favorite of like this era. Um,
Sure. Yeah.
but I just never. There's a couple songs here that just don't click with me, and also it's sometimes a hard record to just decide to put on because I like the Men Singers when there's a little bit more hope, there's a little bit more fond reminiscing of the past, other than just like regret and heartbreak. So I'm gonna put it in my B tier, but I think it's an excellent record. I think there's great songs in here, but I just don't. I think it is a drop off from On the Impossible Past, and it doesn't reach the heights of some of my favorites.
Okay.
But, yeah, sorry, I think I talked there for a while, but go ahead. What are you doing with Rented World here?
All right. So if anyone watched the Epitaph bracket, I was on one episode and I was the lone defender of this album. And I
Oh,
mentioned
oh
like
yeah.
this is my most listened to Menzinger's album. I
Is it okay?
I love this album, man. Everything you're talking about, there not being the hope. I love
You
that.
love,
Yeah,
you
I
love
love
that.
the
You're like,
darkness, the
less hope,
sadness.
please.
Yeah, like this is so depressing. It's beautiful. Um, yeah, like there's just this darker tone to the whole album, and like
hmm
there's just yeah, not a single bit of happiness. It's
You
amazing.
you wouldn't think from the first track. The first track just seems like it's gonna be another Menzingers record. You know what
Just
I mean?
he just want to let you down. Just
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Then right after that, it's like we just delve into sadness.
Oh
Sorry,
yeah,
continue
yeah,
though.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's no skips for me on this one. But if I had to pick some favorites, like Rodent's a great song, especially like the whoa, like that
hmm
that kind of part. I love Transient Love, Where
Oh,
Your
it's so
Heartache
good.
Exists. I have Nothing Feels Good Anymore. It's one of my favorite songs. I can't believe you don't like it, but
I just
yeah.
hate that chorus. Nothing feels good anymore. It's just over and over again. I feel like they have such stronger choruses, but I get if you like it. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
and I mean, I'm like a huge fan of just like anything with a lot of fuzz or like distortion. And
hmm
I was watching one of their gear videos, and they were talking about they have this like pedal called the Fuzz War or something like that. I kind of want to
Okay,
get one now and use it, but
it's a great guitar tone. Yeah.
yeah, like their guitars sound awesome on every record, but especially this one to me. Um, yeah, and it just like I said, it reminds me of like sadder kind of bands like Bracket, the
hmm
Pixies again, like
Oh
any
yeah.
of that kind of stuff, right? Where it's a lot of just kind of like just open bass and open chords and that kind of stuff.
hmm
Um, so yeah, this is my S tier.
Okay.
I'll just leave it at that.
I know there's a couple people. I think there's a couple people in the Discord that would put Rented World in S tier. I'm pretty sure. So No, nothing wrong with it. Great record, like I said. I'm kind of just like trying to pick at reasons why it can't be in the upper echelons of my tiers here. But let's go ahead and move on to the follow up of Rented World, which is After the Party, which is quite a got another really big record for them. I feel like I don't want to be an asshole anymore was a big hit off Rented World, but I feel like After the Party had a lot of pretty big hits as well. And this is a lot of people's favorite. But you want to go ahead and talk about After the Party here, Kyle?
Yeah, so I know a lot of people seem to really really love this album. It seems to be the one people I like. If you talk to them about the Menzingers, this is the one they kind of bring up first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like I just said, I prefer a sadder, hopeless, depressed Menzingers. Um, like this one,
Poor
there's
Greg.
yeah, like like this one, they're starting to get a little too happy. Like even the opener, Telling Lies. Like I love all these songs still. It's just not what I would prefer out of a Menzingers album, I guess you could say. Um,
Okay.
but Telling Lies is a great song. Thick as
Oh
Thieves
yeah.
good. Midwestern States is great.
Oh
Um,
yeah, oh yeah, everything is terrible. I like feel like that's also like comparable to like the Good Things intro, where it's like I've been having a horrible time. I feel like that's another one of those where you're like, oh, this is gonna be a banger.
oh yeah, like always with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the Bars I think might be my favorite song on the
The
whole
Bar is a
album.
great song. It's a
It's like
great song.
it's kind of like countryish too. Like, and I normally don't listen to that kind of stuff, but I love it the way they do it. And then it just like it goes into the after the party, and then Living Ain't Easy. Like, it's just a great way that the album ends. And
Also, After the Party, I didn't realize it's like their most popular song. I had no clue,
well,
honestly.
you know what I realized too? I meant to bring this up earlier on the Impossible Past, but like when they signed to Epitaph, they must have got like some money to start making amazing music videos because they have music videos for every one of these albums.
Yeah, yeah.
And the After the Party music video is great too. It's pretty sad video actually. Um,
Well, there you go. You
yeah,
like
yeah,
it. It's
yeah. I
sad.
loved it. I loved it. The song could have been sadder though, but yeah. Uh,
The fucking- You should have made like gun cocking sounds.
there should have been like someone actually crying on the album, but
Like actual tears. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We
And
need one of those like Midwest emo voicemails where it's just like like a horrible breakup.
yeah, yeah. This is also the first time I realized like the singer has a bit of a stutter, especially you hear it in the last song when he can't say coffee. He's like coffee. No, I'm kidding. It's that's clearly for effect, but but yeah, I mean I don't want to say anything bad about any of these albums. Like I love them all. So this is going in my my B tier.
B tier?
But I mean it could easily have been in my A tier. So
Sure, sure. All right. Well, for me here, this is the second masterpiece by the Menzingers. This is the second 10 out of 10 Menzingers record. And this is such a gust of wind to move our sails along from that depressing end to Rented World. Let's move past Who Died, and let's just kick off with a fucking blast with Telling Lies. Oh yeah, everything is terrible. I'm just like, this is like, to me, this is peak like Midwest Americana emo Bruce Springsteen we've got going on.
yeah.
So this is the shit, dude. Like this record is so good. So is On the Impossible Past. It's like it's so hard for me to decide between the two. I love the positivity. I love the hopefulness in the Menzingers. And I love like all this like reminiscing of the past that they have going on after the party here. Like there's so much like good just like storytelling of just like me thinking about like moments in like my youth and stuff like that with my friends. Like the line from I want to say Midwestern States where it's we both got worthless diplomas from worthless from worthless universities, two bachelors in worthless studies, but at least it made our parents happy and it cost a whole lot of money. It's just like really good lines here. The other one I think is from Bad Catholics, where like I was paying attention to like the lyrics on this, where I was just like, man, if you're not from like, I can't imagine someone who isn't like from America a lot of the time listening to the Menzingers because a lot of their stuff is so specific. But if you're not from the Northeast, some of these lyrics are just not going to make a lot of sense to you. On some of the references they make on this thing, they said we were pillaging the Turkey Hill on Main Ave and West Side. Do you know what Turkey Hill is?
No, and I'm Canadian for
Uh,
the
oh
viewers at
yeah,
home.
yeah. So
So,
he's Canadian, so you wouldn't know. It's like some of the Turkey Hill is like a cheap ass like uh iced tea and lemonade. You can get iced
oh,
tea or lemonade, then you can get them from gas stations, and they're like really cheap, and they're like high in sugar. But it's like when we were younger, like that's what we get because it's like $1, and you get some Turkey Hill iced tea. That's all just corn syrup, and the lemonade too. Um, but like the whole lyrics are, we should have never thought that we could get stoned and drive around with just a half a pack of smokes, a bottle of Clear Eyes, and an appetite. We were pillaging the Turkey Hill on Main Ave and West Side. Like, really just specific lyrics about just like life and reminiscing. And I love it. Your Wild Years also is like an absolute banger. Like that chorus is one of my favorites of all time, where you just a little Irish in your blood, a little Polish in your name, a little Boston in your attitude, just the way you were raised. What a killer chorus! What a great line! Like,
yeah, yeah.
um, so this is going in my S tier. Like this is such I love the positivity of the Menzingers. I like the hopefulness. I like the fond reminiscing of the past. That's what I'm going for. So after the party, S tier all day for me. So
There you go.
um, but now we're moving on to Hello Exile, the record that comes after the party, which
Yes.
makes sense. We would go in that order. Um, this I think this record took a while to grow on me. I don't think I liked this one as much when it originally came out. Real quick, what were your feelings on Have you listened to Hello Exile before, or was this one of the ones you weren't super familiar with?
So I was pumped when it came out because at this point I was already listening to like Rented World a lot and just
Yeah,
absolutely loving it. And when this came out, I was like, this just is so different. Like,
yeah,
like there's some songs that resemble obviously the old Menzingers, but this is like their intro to like Heartland rock. They consider it.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it took a while for me
It,
to
and
get
it
into it.
and it had like that vocal effect too on his voice, which
Yes.
I wasn't used to. Like that kind of a little bit of like a lo-fi kind of like megaphone sound to it. So
Yeah,
what I
is that what it is, or is he like doing some sort of inflection with his voice?
No, it's
Like
definitely an effect. It's like
yeah.
supposed to be like an indie rock effect, like a lot of these bands do.
Okay,
But
yeah.
yeah. So when I first heard it, I don't think I was super excited, especially coming on after the party. Like I wanted another record like that. I would even take something like Rented World. I really wasn't expecting this record, but this record has grown on me like so much, and it's an absolutely fantastic record. The the opening track, America You're Freaking Me Out, I always liked that one, but I never dove too much into any of the other stuff. But once I started, giving it another chance and revisiting it, oh dude, there's so many good songs in here, dude. Like the song Anna is an absolute banger. High School Friend, oh my gosh, what a great track High School Friend is. Where did I put the lyrics for that at? Where it was just like we were telling tales of revisionist history. Like you're hanging out with your high school buddy and you're revisiting the past, but you're like, adding details to make it more
Exactly. Yeah.
exciting or make it more. It's so good, stuff like that. And I was getting drunk with a high school friend, wondering where the good times went. It's so good. High School Friend's a great one. From America, You're Freaking Me Out, driving through the Bible Belt, billboards claiming how Jesus felt. Oh, how do I steer my early 30s before I shipwreck before I'm 40? So many good lines in this thing. So many good songs, and I really started liking the kind of weird indie American heartland, as you said, sound to it, and I got used
Mhm.
to it, and I find it to be like a very like captivating record that really sucks you in. Hello Exile is a great song. Strangers Forever. I Can't Stop Drinking. The final track is a great one. Farewell Youth. Um, and still, it doesn't feel like it's a downer. It's not a Debbie Downer like Rented World was. It still has a bit of hope and joy. They're not drowning in a bottle of alcohol, considering ending it all. So I appreciate it, and it's also going in my A tier as well, right next to On the Impossible Past. So it grew on me a lot. This one skyrocketed quite a bit, not recently, but in the past, because for a while I didn't really like this record at all. But what do you think of Hello Exile, Kyle? Hello
Yeah,
Exile.
it took me a
Yeah.
while to get back into it. Like, in this was the one I kind of had to force myself, honestly, to listen to a lot.
That's good.
Like, the songwriting's obviously amazing. It's just not my style. I'm
Yeah,
not into
I
that stuff.
I get that. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you like that, this is probably, a 10 out of 10 album probably for you. But I don't know. I have two tracks that I really do like a lot. Like America You're Freaking Me Out, I think is awesome, and Strangers
Hmm.
Forever is probably my second favorite. But I think the top half is pretty good, and then that's when they start kind of getting more into that country kind of sound where I'm just
Hmm.
not. I just can't get into it, honestly. Um, so yeah, I'm not gonna say too much else than that.
That's fine.
This
That's
is going
fine.
in my D tier. This is my
This
least
is the D tier
my least
record.
favorite. Yeah,
Oh my goodness gracious!
yeah.
What the hell, Kyle? This is wild. This is crazy. I have no clue what the general perception of hell. You said you looked up some Menzinger tier list on Reddit. It was all over the place, right? all like
Yeah,
everyone had a different
all
tier list.
over. And like
Yeah.
the general like perspective I kind of got from most people on this one is the first few songs are pretty good, and then they kind of tailor off into this different style. So it's
Hmm.
it's really got to be kind of your thing.
It grew on me. It grew on me a lot. I've grown to appreciate it quite a bit.
And you love the
Um,
more folky stuff in general though, right? So
Yeah, I don't mind it. Like I'm like if I can invest in like all right, we're gonna have like a I also really love Johnny Cash, so I can invest in Hello Exile. So, but I guess we'll move on to the final record here, which is Some of It Was True.
For me, sometimes I can't help but think there's no place in this world for me.
Came out like a 2023, right?
yeah,
Um,
pretty recently.
and I guess you go ahead and start us off here, but I just want to say real quick before you do, another downer record, man. So you must like this one. As soon as it starts, the lyrics are, "I'm afraid I love someone who's in love with someone else," setting the tone for what this record is. But go ahead, Kyle. Talk about Some of It Was True.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is more a return to the darkness, which I love.
He broke. Someone broke his heart again, and Kyle's like, "Yes."
But you know what? There's a lot more darker songs. There's still a lot of hopeful songs. Like Try is a
Sure.
very upbeat song, right? Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I get Hope is a Dangerous Little Thing stuck in my head so much. Like I
It's a
catch
great
myself
song.
singing it all the time.
Hmm.
Um, so I love that, and then I love There's No Place in This World for Me. That's like
Hmm.
maybe
That's
my
a great
favorite
one.
song on the whole album here. But yeah, I think up until Some of It Was True, I'm really digging it, and then Try's like okay to me. I can't get into Come On Heartache, and then I really like Ultraviolet actually a lot, and then the rest it's kind of more this country sound,
Yeah.
just not my thing. There's still really good songs, and like I'll still listen to this album, but this isn't going to be like my go-to Menzingers album. Um,
Yep.
and I'm kind of curious where they're going to go from here. Like a lot of people kind of said like with Hello Exile and Some of It Was True, like this is kind of like them maturing out of their like adolescence kind of songwriting, right?
I don't know about that, dude. I feel
But
like I feel like honestly, On the Impossible Past was like a very mature record. So I mean, it's a peak songwriting. Also, After the Party, I mean, like what? Just because it's like it has like an indie effect on it, all of a sudden it's more mature songwriting. I swear these hipsters, dude.
well,
But sorry.
well, I can kind of see it though, cause like with the After the Party, right? Like even the way it kind of ends, like it goes from like you're in the bars to now you're kind of like at home with your partner, and then like it goes into like living ain't easy, and I don't know, it's kind of like this like send off to what the next album's gonna be, and they even said it themselves for Hello Exile, like they wrote it to kind of be like this is like a turning of the page kind of album.
I mean, it definitely
Um,
seems like an evolution of the band,
yeah, yeah, for
so.
sure. Um,
Hmm.
so anyways, this is still a good album. Like
Yeah,
no hate for her or anything like that. But all my other spots are taken up, so this is going in my my C tier.
yeah, I am going right there with you. To me, some of it was true. I know you put Hello Exile in the D tier. I think Hello Exile is a better version of some of it was true in a lot of ways. I think they do some of the kind of Heartland Americana stuff much better than some of the stuff on some of it was true. There's a lot of songs on some of it was true that just don't stick in my head, and I feel like the B side of it is especially weak.
Hmm.
I think the title track honestly surprised me when I first heard it. I was like, "What is this? Some sort of like I don't know, pop track or something like that with this like,
Dude,
dude, you know what I'm talking
dude,
about?"
how like Hope is a Dangerous Little Thing, and some of it was true. Those should be radio hits. Like those should
Dude,
be
yes, I
like
was saying
huge.
some of it's true. Is like a radio ready hit, dude. Like it feels like it could be like a newer Justin Timberlake song if you remixed it or
Yeah, and I gotta
something
say,
like honestly.
I don't really listen to the radio, so if they're on the radio, somebody let us know in the comments because
I mean,
I would
honestly,
love
you
to
hear
know.
some of it's true. I'm listening to it. Like I'm like, damn, that's like this sounds like it could be on the radio. This sounds like it could be like played after an Adele song plays. It's really
Hell
good
yeah,
songwriting.
yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's a good album. It doesn't hit me as hard. It's also a newer album, so I've had less time to kind of marinate on this one. This one might grow on me some more. But like you said, everything you kind of said, hope is a dangerous little thing. Some of it was true. The title track, "Come On Heartache," "Ultraviolet." There's some great songs. I think the B side's pretty weak on this thing, and it's not weak. It's just I feel like it's a lot of songs that don't really stick into my head or hit me as hard as stuff on other records. So this is also going to my C tier. Um, but like I said, I don't really think the Menzingers released a bad record at all. Like I feel like I
no,
enjoy
they're
I enjoy all these records.
yeah, and I would say like out of the Epitaph roster, like they're probably one of the best bands on there right now. Easily
I
one of
would
the
say
best
so.
songwriters for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean these guys are incredible songwriters,
Right? And
and
yeah, they do the storytelling thing like perfectly too. So
oh, it's so good, so good. Like some of these lines are just like I'm like, this is excellent songwriting. It's not cliche, it's not corny. It's like this. It's a great balance of just a bit of like almost like too many words, but it just comes together in just like a really nice way how he sings it. Like if you just look at the lyrics without knowing how it's sung, I would be confused how to even start trying to play this thing. I'd be like, how is this gonna rhyme with this and flow into this? This guy has the ability to do that, and is
yeah,
an incredible singer, incredible songwriter. Um,
I
emo Bruce Springsteen, emo punk Bruce Springsteen, kill it. They kill it.
yeah, and
So
you know what's something also I think it's pretty rare. At least it seems rare to me. Like not many bands stay together this long with the same original members.
is it
Um,
all the originals?
yeah,
I didn't even know
it's
that.
been all the original members, and at least from everything I looked at, like it's not like one person seems to be writing everything either. It seems like they're
Hmm.
writing all the songs together. So
That's
I
cool.
just think that's pretty cool.
So it's a team effort from the Menzingers. So
Yeah.
but I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you for doing this with me, Kyle. I'm a much bigger Menzinger fan than you are, so it was exciting for me, and I'm glad you got to dive through the Menzingers with me and talk about some of these records. Some wild takes from Kyle today, maybe some wild takes from me. Just let us know down below in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to go to punkrockradio.limitedrun.com and thank John for graciously allowing us to upload this video on his channel and talk about a band that him and most everyone else on here doesn't really give a shit about. But
Yeah, those
I
guys
do,
are
and it.
those guys are the boyzingers still. They're not mature enough for
Yeah,
the men
mature enough,
singers. Yeah,
maybe one day the boys zingers will become the men's zingers,
yeah,
and be able to appreciate, you know, basically, songs about everyone dying in your life, and
yeah. What's not to like about that? Come on, guys.
everyone in your life slowly died, and you finding yourself alone and wondering
Heartbreak, everything. Yeah,
heartbreak. So I don't know. So also be careful if you're a waitress. This guy is going to charm you and take you on a wonderfully romantic journey that's going to end in one of the worst breakups of your life. So just be warned, waitresses out there. Greg or whoever is coming for you. So he wants to smoke cigarettes with you and play you Pixie covers. So
Yeah.
watch out. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and we're out of here, dudes.
See ya.